everybody. Welcome to Tim Kulig Free Music Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Kulig. Starting out a little bit different this year. I'm going to try and do more and more video podcasts so you can actually see my face, whether you want to or not. I also will have the audio-only ones on streaming services, so you can be without that as well. However, I'm talking to you Monday the 20th of January, 2025, and coming back fresh and hot off of Podfest in Orlando, Florida. My goodness, what amazing information and what a great event put on by Chris and all of the people helping him out there. I just, when you go to an event that is done as well as this one is, you find yourself with so much information and overwhelmed with so many actions to take after the fact that you literally need like a week to go through your notes and figure out what your plan of attack is going to be in the various subsectors of podcasting. I mean, literally between the tools available, the platforms you can use to record your guests and yourself. Right now, I'm actually using Riverside. I'd never used it before, and I'm using it because there's some AI components in there that can get rid of the ums and ahs that you may say throughout discussions with people, or just awkward silences that were when you were thinking about the next thing to say and you're trying to be as authentic as possible, but you don't want to leave it in there because you don't want you want the pacing to be there and you want your audience to be enjoying your show. So there's a bunch of that, and they literally have this particular platform has a text to edit function. So you can literally take the text out. It does a transcript and ties the text to your voice, and you can just take out certain words and it just truncates the whole thing. So just a sample of what one of the pieces does, one of the tools rather does, that I'm very, very excited to explore, and I'm exploring right now. So in addition to that, there was just a ton of information on SEO and how to get into the ears and eyes of the audience you're looking for, and how to really surgically get out there and do the thing that you want to do, and basically affect as many people as you can in a positive way. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do with this music catalog and the service I'm providing. So very excited. I'll have more to come in future podcasts to talk to you about, but really, it just from the bottom of my heart, Chris, it was just a great show. It was a great event, and I absolutely purchased a ticket to go again next year. Not only for the accountability, I feel like that's a big thing with some of these events. If you go back a second year or multiple years, every year you should be building upon the previous one, and it creates this even subconscious accountability that when I come back here, I shouldn't be in the same place. I should have a bigger audience. I should have a better understanding of the platforms and the environment that I'm doing this in, and also just have grown as a person and as a creator. So thank you again very much for introducing yourself at Creator Fest in August in Orlando as well, which I imagine if you're going to go there again, I'm going there again. So I'll see you again this August, wherever they intend on hosting that, Chris. So again, congratulations on a really well produced and executed event, and I look forward to next year with it. That said, music is now off hiatus. This week I'm getting back into writing. I literally took everybody like a month off, and I did a couple things here and there where I threw down some ideas or whatever, but I literally gave my brain a break for a month. Last year, I think, was a record for me. I had produced and published over 200 tunes, which is a lot. I mean, that's like a tune, no tune, a tune, no tune, like that pattern every 3 days for the whole year. Now, granted, that's not exactly how it works. I usually put down several ideas my Monday, Friday. If you're new to the podcast, I do a Monday, Friday where I try to jot down 5 ideas. They may not develop into anything other than a simple melody. However, sometimes I get a half to 3/4 of a song done in those Monday, Fridays. But at the very least, I try to get 10 ideas down a week. And those ideas build over time, and then I look periodically, like once a month, at the genres that I'm writing music in and decide based on that what genre I'm going to finish for my next compilation or album. So if I got really fun and grooving on lo-fi, say, and I have like 8 to 12 ideas, that's usually enough for me to put together an 8-song compilation. So I'll go in there and refine all that, and I'll get that published. That's basically how I'm looking at this year and the next 3 years minimum going forward. That'll put me in a position potentially of having somewhere between 13 and 1,500 tunes by the end of 2027. So building a catalog here, rapid succession, very excited about that. And the next compilation should be the Spaghetti Western one, because I do owe Kelly Spaghetti Western songs, and I loud and clear, bud, they're coming for you. So next couple of weeks you'll see a lot more. Content's going to change a little bit this year. I've considered possibly branding the name of the podcast differently, but honestly, as it stands right now, it's going to stay Tim Kulig Free Music Podcast. I feel like that hits it right on the nose. If you all have a different suggestion for the name to get to more people and into more ears and eyes, I'm open to it. That said, I'm literally just trying to find ways to get into more places. And one of the ways is through video. I feel like you could see somebody's body language and understand their compassion and everything. And especially with interviews and everything, I want to make sure that ultimately that's the direction I'm going. And I want you to see my face. I want to see the face of my cat, who just can't seem to leave me alone when I'm doing things. So that's Kimby, Kimbe. He will get involved now and again with the podcast because I can't control it. I mean, this is where his food is, so it is what it is, man, you know? But there's going to be more and more interviews this year. Not only people that use my music, but other podcasters and creators with an emphasis on the music component, where they get it, whether they use royalty free or not, how they give attribution. That kind of gets into something else I'm planning on doing this year, is like really doing a deep dive on Creative Commons and royalty free tunes, specifically because I found in the last year, more and more people are having issues with content ID claims and platforms silencing their music for some reason. They just don't know why. So I'm going to dig into it deeper this year. There's a conference I'm attending, a virtual conference this coming Saturday on Creative Commons, and I'm gonna get some resources in play and start doing some video content showing creators how to navigate some of these platforms when they have these problems. So if any of you out there have had problems on platforms and have specific examples you want to share with me, please reach out to me at timkuligfreemusic@gmail.com. Send me a quick note, or if you go to my website, you can literally text me and let me know you got something that you need to talk to me about. I'd love to hear from you about it, because it's the kind of content and the kind of value I want to add to the community that ultimately is what I'm trying to build here. And that comes into another thing, is community building. This year, I'm going to spend a lot of time with the podcast and expanding it into Facebook community, various communities on different social media platforms, because I want people to engage about these problems and the concept of Creative Commons and royalty-free music. And when things pop up, I'd like to see where things are happening, how they can be addressed, and keep that discussion going. I don't claim to be an expert or an authority on any of it, but I am an avid learner. So you bring the information to my table, and I will disseminate it far and wide. It's a constantly changing environment. I mean, with the AI industry touching basically everything that we touch and everything we do, this is no exception, this area with music. And I want to make sure that everybody that uses my music is in a good place and has great guidance, the best guidance I can offer using it going forward. I mean, you all know my position on YouTube with the frequency music engagement that I have there, and my ability to help guide you and navigate that platform with the attribution language and everything. Outside of that, there's things going on Facebook. There's things going on other platforms. TikTok is up, down, up again. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's billions of dollars in revenue a year that the government would otherwise be leaving on the table. So I couldn't imagine that being shut down for very long. I just wasn't buying it. It just didn't seem like it made a lot of sense. And some of the alternatives just didn't seem like they would meet the content creators, at least in the United States, needs, going forward. So, got a lot of things to keep an eye on and a lot of things to investigate. And that's going to be a good portion of the content. So the content that I've been doing thus far has been primarily overseeing and supporting my journey of creating all this music. Like, that's not going to go away. That's going to be part of some of the content that I do. However, I feel like that gets boring really fast. It adds value in the sense that you're going to know there's new music coming out and it may be a genre that you're looking for. But I think the value comes more in how to navigate using this stuff for free as royalty free and Creative Commons. So hence why things are evolving a bit. More audience interaction with community building, more input from the audience on what kind of content to create in this space and maybe even other space. Through that community building and through questioning and polling and everything this year, I may find that there are needs that aren't being met that I haven't even thought about yet. And this is going to be very exciting to me because I enjoy problem solving. I've been doing that a lot in a lot of the jobs that I've had over the years. And now that there's an opportunity to address some of the things in the musical space the way that I'm doing it now, I feel pulled. I feel compelled to do this right now. Just like around the holiday when I put down my keyboard playing fingers for a little bit and really kind of thought about, well, let's take a look at the year. Let's assess what we've done, what we haven't gotten done, what we want to do next year, what our 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year, I think about all this stuff. I think big picture, I think 1,000 foot, 10,000 foot, and micro. You have to. If you don't see the big picture in front of you and take that and isolate it down to micro efforts and micro tasks, you're never going to get there. This is a multi 10,000 foot step journey that some of those steps take weeks at a time individually. And it can get overwhelming when you think about it all at once. But when you dive in and you take things 3 at a time, 6 at a time, 10 at a time, and just start knocking stuff out, so much easier to gain and get to your goal. So maybe I'll do some motivational stuff this year too, because I have to self-motivate to keep this stuff going as well. It's totally my passion. It's totally my passion, but it can be a grind sometimes. And if you go back into my podcast episodes, there is one that I actually do, like what to do when it becomes a grind. And I don't know how many times I've changed my approach to coming up with new ideas. And this Monday, Friday seems to be the best solution so far. Granted, you have to stay committed to it for it to be effective. So, and then that just evolves into the potential of, after this weekend at Podfest, it made me think, like, I might not be limited to just this one podcast. I may start delving into some other areas. My personal health has been a thing that I've been focused on. Spoiler alert, I turned 50 last week, and I hope I don't look that old. But one thing I'm trying to do going forward is making sure that I'm consistent in that space, in the exercise space, in the yeah, of course, I'm just drawing a blank here. Hopefully the AI picks that up. But in the health food space, like, dietary space, what I'm eating, what I'm not eating, more importantly, what I'm avoiding eating, so that I feel like I have, it's not so much necessarily the physicality of everything, but do I feel healthy? Am I eating to live? Not the opposite. And the eating to live that I'm doing, am I putting the nutrients in my body to be able to achieve the goals that I'm looking for? Like, your body needs fuel. You need energy. You need stress relief from the walks, the runs, the weightlifting, that kind of thing. And I just have, over the last 6 months to a year, I've created a de-emphasis on that I really need to revisit and become accountable to myself for. And by putting this in a podcast, now it's out there. I've bare my soul, like, hey, I've been a little lackadaisical. 2019, I had a PR on a half marathon where I ran it in like 2 hours and 5 minutes. And I don't think I could run 2 miles right now straight. It's just not happening. So I want to get back to that. Want to get back to making that a priority on my day and my week and just my existence. So, but that might spawn some other podcasts or some other content that will keep me accountable to the commitment that I want to have for myself. And in turn, maybe that'll help motivate other people the same way as well. But there's some other things I have. That's just an example. There's some other ideas I have on the docket and in the works that may become new content that I'll cross promote with what I've got going on here. But if you could think of anybody that would be an interest to you for me to interview, that are creators, that are accessible, I would be very open to that. So again, timkuligfreemusic@gmail.com. Reach out to me there. Let me know if there's something that you want me to talk about, if there's something you want me to investigate. I am all ears, because I have literally reached out to some of the like super users of my music this last quarter of last year and just said, okay, what are you guys looking for? What's coming up that you need some help on? And I'll do my best to incorporate my production schedule to accommodate you. And that's ultimately what I'm trying to do with this podcast and with any other podcast or any other media that I produce, is literally add the value that you're looking for. So that said, that's all I've got today for you. Again, I've got 3 interviews coming up this month that I'm really excited to share with you once they're edited and finalized. I'm also taking some time in that space and with these interviews to experiment with some of the technology and some of the ways of capturing things. This is new for me. I may or may not incorporate this into the first interview that I do. We'll see. We'll see how this comes out. We'll see how comfortable I feel about it. And we'll see what the responses are on it and how easy it is to integrate into my workflow. But ultimately, it's going to be the year of experimentation this year, I think. Musically, creatively, content-wise, just everything. Because why not? Why not? YOLO, right? You only live once, supposedly. And, if you're not learning, if you're not growing, you're dying. So let's grow. Let's grow. This now is the only moment we have. So let's make it happen. All right. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for coming to the 35th episode of the Tim Kulig Free Music Podcast. Hopefully I didn't duplicate because I didn't look at my schedule. I think it was 34 was the last one. If this is 36, big faux pas, it's still going out that way. We'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.